when the police come banging on my door, and they didn't come into my house, they rang me up to say come out. I went to the window, opened the window, they said get away from the window, get away from the window. My house was lit up like a floodlight, like a football pitch. It's the hardest thing I've ever done practically, to stand there knowing that the bloke who put you away is in front of you. It's come with a tool. It went like that with a tool, and it turns out that the exhibit bag, that the bag was taken out of the exhibit room, which my print was found on. It's the only time that bag was taken out of the exhibit room where the seals have been broken and nobody signed it and they've resealed it and put it back.
Oh.
It's the only time at the time I was in the police station.
So they've stitched
They
you
put
up.
my prints on there, and we've never, through Susan Shaw at the Forensic Science Institute, conducted a test and said it's absolute rubbish, should never been said. So the jury must have thought, well, he's gripped a gun inside that bag, and he's had ammunition in there, he must have had something to do with the murder. Basically, I was done for.
Well, welcome back, guys. We're here again with a very special guest. We're here with Kevin Lane. Kev, would you like to introduce yourself really quickly?
My name's Kevin Lane. I served an extremely long time in prison for a contract killing. I've been released now a number of years. I've just been released for a recall. I've got quite a story, I believe.
So who was Kevin Lane before all of that went down? You know, what was your childhood like? Where did you grow up?
Grew up in a place called Harefield, Middlesex, full of farms and lakes and woods and stuff. Grew up with a family, number of brothers, number of sisters. Loved life, loved sport. And then I met a girl. I got expelled from school, started fighting. Fighting when I was a kid for different reasons. My brother's older mates. My brother would just get picked on a bit because he had to wear a crash helmet at school because he had plates in his head. We got run over. And I took umbrage to that. That's where you get what's called animalistic. So you see something happening and you react because it's animalistically in your system, whether it's from downloaded from your genes. I only knew this. Ella McChrystal told me this. She's a psychotherapist, and she said, Kevin, it's nature and nurture. So anyway, I had a bit of a fight or two with my brother's mates. They were 2 years older than me, and then from that you get a reputation. I've always liked work, so I've always had good money, more money than my mates at school, working really hard as a kid. And then I was in the baker's, fish and chip shop, then at a builder's at 14, full time, 4 days a week, released from school, getting paid for that, and then working in the chip shop after work in the daytime, and then the weekends. And I was in benefit because I moved into a flat when I was 15 with a pal of mine who was 18. Got expelled from school, went to meet a new girl, met a new girl at that school. She was the it girl at that school, and I started going out with her, but her family were notorious for the area. And from that I ended up working security, the doors, and I'll tell you a bit more about that. Yeah.
It all starts with a girl, though, doesn't it? It all starts with a woman, doesn't it?
Oh, blimey, eh?
Yeah.
Bloody all. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, but we're made to breed because it's in our hormones. Women don't produce the same amount of. They may produce estrogen, don't they? But we produce testosterone, but we produce it in our bollocks, and we keep producing it. And that's so we can mate. So women have a different sort of process to us. So that's why men will look at women more like that, because it's in us more.
Yeah.
Would you call that like a turning point moment? And if so, how did that family then put you on a pathway to what happened next?
I'll tell you how it started. So Kim, I was her first love, but she was going out with a fella before me. I come along, nicked her off him. He was a bit older, just left school, and he was waiting outside the school for her. I waited outside the school for him, but he never turned up. So I then waited outside his house for him one night, and he came home, and I chased him, and he dived into a rose bush bigger than these trees, right in the middle of him. I thought, fucking hell, that must have hurt. From that I got bollocking from her dad. Alright, and then things just spiraled. When I was in the flat, I was then fighting men of my own, men a lot older than me in the village. There could have been some men there to pick me up and throw me around, but blokes of 22, 23, 24 and that, I was having tear-ups with them and smashing them. Some travellers who were a lot older than me, smashed them up, and then you get a name for yourself, don't you? But only because they was always doing something, or you know, to try and chat my bird up or be rude and something, and I would weigh them in. And then from that I started doing security on the doors at 18. People obviously felt that I was a a manager and not so much as a doorman, so I could approach you and you'd be very relaxed around me because I didn't look like I could do anything. But as soon as you raised your hands or you overstepped the mark, I'd jump into action like Zorro.
So you were living by yourself, well, with another mate at 15, and that's something that I've not heard a lot of the times before. It's quite rare to hear that. At 15 years old, you're really young. You're moving out of whatever situation you're in before and living by yourself. So how was that like? It means you're obviously a very independent person, and you were strong enough and mature enough to do that. But do you think that was a good thing that you did, or did you? Or I'm not sure how to like word this, but like, did it actually impact you in the long run negatively, or was it a positive thing? Would you say?
If you're a get up and go person and you're a doer, so there's like, you can be a person that limbers up on the touchline waiting to come on and play, or you can be on there having a go, can't you? So by being able to provide for myself and go into a flat with my friend, consequently subsequently as a result of that, I've gone on and bought my first flat at 18 because I was earning sufficient funds to do that through the tax accounts and so on and so forth. Independence can mature you in many ways when you're really quite immature as a young man at 15. All you want to do is fucking be like a rabbit, don't you? And that's what I was. However, what had an impact on me was meeting people on licensed premises as a doorman and then venturing out from there. So going around and you're having a tear up on the door, some blokes have come in misbehaving themselves, things get out of hand, and then from that you have to go and find them afterwards to make sure they don't come back again, or make some threats before they leave, or they've done something that's quite not right, and then from that it spirals out of control a little. So I think working the doors is probably a benefit and a negative at the same breath, in that you meet a lot of people. It's a difficult one, that. And the simple reason I say that is that I'm here now. Where'd my life have been if I hadn't gone to prison? It would have been a lot better, that's for sure. They say your path is destined. You're aligned to get what is in the line for you. So, one life, live it. That's where it took me. This is where I am now. It's made me the person I am. The ingredients of my lifestyle has made me quite topical with people in the media, TV, podcasts, and it's made me the character that I am. I'm very decent, very calm, in terms of I'm kind. So the years of living the life I've led in many different ways, the constant drip wears the stone and it moulds you. So I believe that through the experience that I've had, I'm now a far better person, controlled in my actions and more understanding. So yeah, I'd say it has had an impact on me, my lifestyle, but the outcome of that at the end is I'm really pleased with it. Really pleased with the person I am today.
Good. And I mean, that's a good thing that you can actually see that and you appreciate that. Do you think you can still turn it on like that?
I can, yes. But there's been the first time in my life recently when I was confronted by the grass in my case. I'm not allowed to mention his name, but he's in my book. And he's serving a sentence now for the murder of David King. And they sent me to a prison where he was. A few days before that, said, "You're going to be released any day now, imminently." I thought, oh my God, what am I sending me here for? I've never stood in front of someone with my hands down by my sides. And I did that at one point. I took some punches. I got plunged a few times. Once that had happened, I threw a few punches back. And he was like Windy Miller. He can't fight to save his life. But nonetheless, I stood there and took some blows. I had to show that it was self-defence. So I can turn it on, but if I'd have turned it on that day, I'd be still in prison now, because he would have been severely hurt, considering the amount of time I've done in prison, and I would have proper weighed him in. I would say I'd like to have another go, without any cameras on me, or this fight for charity. Get it on when you come home. Donate all the money to charity. Me and you. let's get it right on, because he can't walk the same path as me, but he come at me with a tool, and so I didn't turn it on that day, and that's the first time in my life. So that's why I answered like that, and I answered like that for the right reason. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, practically, to stand there knowing that the bloke who put you away is in front of you. He's come with a tool. He went like that with a tool. I threw a punch, went for him. As I've gone up the stairs, I've gone over. I've got a terrible injury on my right knee. It just won't sustain skipping or anything. I've rolled over like fucking James Bond, plunged a few times. As I've got up, took some punches. So in all the time you're thinking, right, it's all on camera here now. I'll go to work. Screws standing there, body worn cameras and that. And still you're mindful that you're not really doing, you're not turning it on, because if you turn it on, you know you're going to be not released. As a result of that, I ended up staying in prison another first 11 and a half months just for the incident alone. Now imagine if I'd have hurt that man properly. So yeah, I can turn it on, but not like I used to, maybe.
I feel like for this conversation, I feel like it's gonna take us down some really interesting paths. I feel like, it would be rude not to, have a little go of the special drink that you brought us, Kev. Kev has brought us his very own brand. Would you like to actually explain what it is, Kev?
So I've been brewing for years. I'm known as a master brewer within the prison system. I put a lot of time into effort into my drink, and I made it through pure juices, not white sugar, demerara sugar. Long story short is, watch Max Fosh, the YouTuber, and he put my drink in front of 3 wine critics, Tom Gilby, Hannah Crosby and Jessica Someone from a Good Morning programme. They didn't tell him it was a prison hooch. One of them voted mine as the best out of 6.
Oh, I love it.
It's had over 2 million views. So this one here is my cherry brandy.
Oh, we're getting the
Cherry
description
brandy.
as well. I love it.
Okay. It's made with pure juice. What I call it is, it's a creeper.
It's a big fucking glass.
Yeah, it's all right, it's not that strong.
Okay.
This is what you call a creeper. So
Okay.
it will come along and smash you straight in the head.
Can you, for our viewers out there who maybe don't know what prison hooch is, can you explain to them what it is?
So they make it have all sorts of things in prison, soak it in bread and a number of other things, but I don't. It's an alcohol drink made to get you pissed. Some people use here we go, lads.
Thank you very much.
The yeast,
Thank
so
you.
you got to get your yeast first of all. Cheers, lads.
Cheers.
So
Thank you, Kev.
I want your first
mate.
initial thoughts.
Yeah.
Ooh, it does smell like wine.
It's good, yeah.
Fucking
so
hell, it went down, but
You don't like it, say I'm fine.
No, you know what? I like it. It's drinkable. Very drinkable.
that tastes like sweet wine.
similar
I love
to
it.
red wine, but I'd say
Sweet.
more drinkable. So much nicer.
Thank you. More palatable,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what it is. If you had ice in that, it'd have been fresh.
Oh,
I'm getting a burn as well, which I like.
That's
Oh,
the
really?
alcohol.
I'm
Nice.
I'm not getting much of a burn,
warm
actually.
feeling.
Oh, you will be in a minute.
Are we
that's
getting pissed?
good.
Are we not? We're
You
just
might
going
do.
for it.
So, I've had a number of professionals after the Max Fosh YouTube video, and it wasn't strained for a sock, by the way. He just used that as a little bit of a gimmick. But I've had a wine taster come round me house. He come there at 3, left at 9, lagging with 2 bottles. I had a champagne yeast one there. He said that is a gentleman's club. That's a festival's one, that one, and that one is Tesco's, Amazon, right across the board. He said every single one of them drinks are delicious. I've got Riebeck in Yorkshire. I'm in discussions with them. I've got Windsor and Eton, and another brewery I'm in discussions with. Either going into production with them, or I will have it made myself and sell it on Shopify. Loads of clubs it'll be going into, people that I know. As a result of me doing brewing, I wanted to go into production with it before I got recalled a couple of years ago, and now it seems to be getting that interest. So I'm going to have that made, and I'm going to be selling it through a brewery on the shelves, or through Shopify. And look at that, you're picking it up, Nico. It's a lovely drink. Imagine if it had
I love
ice
it.
in it.
I actually love it. I love it.
Ice. Oh,
I love it.
I'm not sure. You know. I
No,
think
no, ice with ice it slaps.
You
mate.
reckon?
Trust me. That with ice, that goes
I'm
from.
loving it.
I rate that right now. I love wine, but sometimes I feel like wine is this is like a way in between, right? Because wine sometimes is a bit too heavy, especially if it's red.
It can be.
It's
like,
a bit too it's just weighing you down. That feels like when you're drinking it feels like you're not drinking a double vodka lemonade.
No.
It's just perfect, and I can tell it's a creeper. I can tell it's a creeper. So it's you know, I think you've made a pretty good product.
So you've got
here.
the sweetness from the cherry. You've got the alcohol from the sugar. That's why it's still sweet, because it's masked by the sweetness of the cherry. What percentage do you think that is, lads?
11, 12?
18.5.
Yeah, that definitely is a creeper then.
Yeah.
See how you're
Okay,
drinking that, Nico. You're just chucking it
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Let me just
By the time we finish, right, I'll have my legs like that. What's going on here, lads?
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna end the pod. I will just be like that.
They're lagging, you will be like, look at that one I done earlier.
We're playing paddle later as well.
We're playing paddle. Where do you vision the brand being then in the next 5 years? Do you think it could be a leading like UK top seller?
When
or?
you see the Max Fosh thing, Tom Gilby said orange juice wine could be a thing of the future, and it is. In that, if I'd have got this out when I should have done, no one's heard of it now until recently. I've had millions of views. The response from people that drink it is just overwhelming. I mean, Dodge Woodall, he does a podcast. He drank it with his wife. He goes, Pucker. There's loads of people. Element Crystal have tasted it, and all sorts right across the board. Every household seems to like it, and they all want it. I think that my drink is going to be on the shelves, in the festivals. Sarah Moxham, she does a podcast. She goes out with Rob Moore, the podcaster. She's the #1 shot girl in the country. She's got 18 festivals under her belt at the minute, and she does Europe as well. Loves it. So I'll get it made, she will purchase it and then use it as shots, because you keep it under 21.5% and it doesn't enter the spirit level. So the taxes are different. However, the champagne is over that. So you wouldn't know you're drinking champagne. You're drinking, because I've mixed it up a bit. I keep one as an orange juice champagne, and I take the orange juice champagne and I add something to it. And I change not only the colour but the taste. But it still pops like a champagne, but it's a different colour.
You know where I could see that being, right? Taking into obviously consideration the major sport event that's happening in England at the moment, Wimbledon, I can see that. Obviously, Pimm's is so deeply rooted, but I can see that side by side with Pimm's. I reckon if you put the fruits and add some ice on top of that,
all day long.
I'd rather drink that than Pimm's.
It's a lovely drink, lads, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I swear, my auntie Judy of 85, she drank it. Sure, I'll have some more of that tonight. So when I went to see Windsor and Eton Brewery, they all pick it up and they go, John, that was, and he back up for a second go, drank that, and he gave him another one. He did the same, and says to me, Kevin, if I didn't have such a busy day today, I would down tools, go home and drink both bottles. Go on, lads. So that's where I think it'll be. And if I get that into the shops or Shopify, which I will do, I might be going private and looking for funders and investors to get it made. So if I get 3,000 bottles made of each different brand, they go like that. However, 3,000 bottles, you've got to get it bottled, you've got it capped, different type of lids, you've got to get responsible drinking and so on and so forth.
Big investment.
It can be that would come to some money, that. However, they would sell in no time at all. And then it would just go from there. However, the amount of people that I would employ through that, the money it would generate, I'd like to employ a lot of ex-prisoners or people who are off homeless, off the streets, give them somewhere to live, get them some accommodation, pay their accommodation through their wages, and give them some, you've got to watch to make sure they're drug clean and stuff like that. But I'd like to go back to somewhere where the money needs to go back. Or anyone who's deserving of a job and wants to work hard. That's what I'm looking for.
I think that is an unbelievable initiative, and obviously it's taking your experiences from the past and taking that into account and being like, actually, I want to help the people who were there with me. And there's a lot of people in prison that are good people and just made the wrong decisions. And then obviously I'm sure there's also just stone cold, just criminals that are just no remorse.
Cold-hearted gits. who don't give a monkeys. They look at you, want to rob you, steal for you, see what they can get off of you, what they can get out of you. Prisons have changed significantly at the moment, and it's not for the better, I can assure you. So yeah, I'll be looking for the good in the places. You're right.
Can you tell us about the day that you found out this whole case was getting put onto you?
When the police come banging on my door, and they didn't come into my house, they rang me up to say come out. I went to the window, opened the window, they said get away from the window, get away from the window. My house was lit up like a floodlight, like a football pitch. It's a great big like police army, great big football pitch, like Batman type lights. You know, when they're up in the sky over Gotham, Gotham City, then
Yeah.
you know that one?
Yeah.
I suppose they thought I could have had a gun, shot me. Anyway, I came out, long story short, I thought, fucking hell, it's all gone wrong here, what's going on? Took me away, released me, got bailed me. I smelt something, I thought, something's not right here. They've taken my fingerprints twice. Why have they done that? They've asked to take my fingerprints when I'm in the police station, in the interview, stopped the interview, banged me up, sent my solicitor home, then got me out, took my prints, and then took them again the next day when I came back from the ID. I then mentioned that to my solicitor some time after, but they'd released me by then. And it turns out that the exhibit bag, the bag was taken out of the exhibit room, which my print was found on. It's the only time that bag was taken out of the exhibit room where the seals have been broken and nobody signed it and they've resealed it and put it back.
Oh.
It's the only time at the time I was in the police station.
So they've stitched you
They
up.
put my prints on there, and we've never had the bag, been access to the bag to have it fingerprinted. They said they didn't know the exact geographical location of the bag. We had that in writing. We were given photographs only of the bag, of the fingerprints. So we've never tested that bag. And then I went in front of a jury. Panorama covered my case, Mark Daly and Louise Shortier, and they had Tracy Alexandra from City of London Police conduct an examination of the bag. The jury was told that I gripped a gun in that bag, and that nitroglycerin, as a firearm residue, that one particle that was found inside the bag. It was found inside a builder's pipe, like a plumber's pipe. That was consistent with being a used gun or ammunition in there, is what the jury were told. Panorama, through Susan Shaw of the Forensic Science Institute, conducted a test and said it's absolute rubbish, should never have been said. So the jury must have thought, well, he's gripped a gun inside that bag, and he's had ammunition in there, he must have had something to do with the murder. Basically, I was done for. So when I got convicted and arrested, I thought, this ain't right. And then when I got into the police station, I thought, this ain't right. And then the trial, I could see they were lying. All sorts of things was happening. The co-defendant, I'm not allowed to mention, he's been kept in prisons up and down the country, having confidential chats with the police, off-the-record chats, meeting with different police forces, telling them that I was responsible for a number of murders, unsolved murders, and as a result of that, he's going to prison. And that's what happened. I went to prison, and now years later, it's all come out that a deal had been done with him, that he was to be acquitted halfway through. 4 police officers have been interviewed by BBC journalists and the late Duncan Campbell of The Guardian. They both, Sally Chidsaw of BBC Look East and Duncan Campbell, interviewed police officers, and they said he's innocent. One of them said he'd seen a statement that was signed, written by a corrupt police officer who was subsequently sacked, who was in charge of the investigation. That police officer, Spackman was his name then, he was the handler of my co-defendant on another case where my co-defendant got accommodation from the judge for giving evidence against his codies, and he walked out. So when you read my book, Fitted Up and Fighting Back, there's no order on that says the material in there can't be printed, because it's come from agencies within the criminal justice system. It's factual. It's been out 4 years. You would have thought that the police or anybody's solicitors got grievance with that would have sent me at least a letter. But they can't, because it's been disclosed to me through, I've written over 10,000 letters to get the material for that book and to get me out free of prison. Whilst I'd served my 20-year sentence, I worked like you'd never believe, no TV for 20 years, working my nuts off. And I thought, I've got to get the letters out, because it's one step nearer to getting to the door. You get one reply, another letter, one reply, you bring an awareness to your conviction. I think it took me 7 years before I got on the BBC News. And then I was on the main news, 10 o'clock, 6 o'clock, articles by The Guardian, and such. And then, of course, case started gathering momentum. People looking into it. Police officers being interviewed, like I say. And from that, I had a big campaign and got myself released.
So what is, like, when you're standing there in court in front of the judge and the judge hands down that sentence, like the second the judge handed down that sentence, what was like your emotion, knowing you were innocent? What did you feel like when they said you are getting X amount of years?
I knew I was absolutely in a very deep hole. I turned to the jury. I said, "You've made a terrible mistake. I've never done this." Asked the judge how long I've got to do, thinking he would give it to me. I didn't know the difference between a recommendation and a tariff. A tariff is given to you by the Home Secretary. If a judge gives you an open court sentence, that's called a recommendation, that you will serve a minimum of that sentence, and then we will look to send you home. It's quite a heavier way of doing your time. Take him down, he said. So they took me down. He didn't tell me what to do. 3 years later, I got my sentence through the post from the Secretary of State and given to me on New Year's Eve. I was going down to collect my tea.
3 years later, the
3
sentence.
years. There we go.
So
Just goes to show.
you didn't know how many years you were actually going to be in there for until 3 years into it.
Yeah, that's right. 3 years.
Mentally, that must just drain you, because there's not even an end goal there. You know, there's nothing to work towards.
Well, I was in the special secure units at first, prison within a prison. You know, like them dolls you get, you put out. So you've got its own walls, own fences, and inside that you've got like a prisoner of war camp with its own walls, own fences, and helicopters going over from hospitals and police and things like that. Alsatians walking around all the time. I was in there. So once I came out of there onto the mainstream landings, I did think I was in a very deep hole before that, in that at trial the judge was asked to say if he would impose a sentence of 30 years or more on me. And I thought, 30 years, and you're calculating in your age group, you think, bloody hell, I'd still be in prison now. Literally. And at the time now, then, 18 years, which I did receive, was a long sentence there for murder. Now, anybody who gets done from a contract killing, they're looking at 30 more. The system's just throwing the key away at you. However, when I got the 18 years, my arsehole of a screw give it to me. And I went, yes! And he's looked at me for 18 years. How can you be happy? Well, I thought I was getting 30. So of course I was happy only getting bleeding 18 years. I've just had 12 years taken off. Nearly half, all but a few years. And when you're knocking them back, when you do your time, you're doing them by years, not months. Oh, another year, another year, another year. So, yeah, I did think I was in trouble. And I thought, God, what's in front of me now? Your kids, your family, you've lost them, they're gone. You're now back to phones, visits, the mayhem that's going on in the prison system, the carnage, what you've got to go through to get out. Of course, I never really envisaged how bad it was going to be until I was quite heavily entrenched in a number of years that I'd served.
And you were in the highest security bracket, right?
Yeah, I was in triple category A.
So the people
like
you were surrounded
is that the
by-
highest you can get?
Yeah, it's called exceptional risk, and I was triple category A, and I'm not proud of that. I was the only man in this country held triple category A whilst on remand, facing a trial. I was placed with the IRA lads who escaped out of Whitemore Special Secure Unit. They had an armed escape, if you look it up. Andy Russell was the only one that was an IRA. And there was like the officers in command of the IRA, so they was in the unit. They escaped, they came to Belmarsh Unit, facing the trial for the escape, convicted prisoners though. I was placed with them after a while of being high risk, which is double A, to triple A with those lads. And again, that's really different. You're not allowed to mix with people. Your solicitors has to see you through a screen. Michael Howard introduced permanently closed visits for your legal team and your family. You don't come into contact. And he authorised bugging of your legal visits. That was printed in the Times. Bugging of your legal visits. I mean, come on, what chance do you stand?
And it was a lot of, by what you describe it, there was a lot of superficial evidence that wasn't really like, you know, there was like one particle, and surely that's not substantial enough to get you proper. Yeah, I'll have a bit more. Why not?
So, yeah, no, it's not substantial enough.
I'm liking it more and more as I'm drinking it. I don't know if it's the alcohol or. Thank you.
I'm going to get a bit more in a minute. So what happened was, the evidence that they used to convict me
Fucking hell, we've smashed the bottle.
Yeah, smashed
We've
it.
smashed it.
Right, it's a bit more there for you too, whoever you want it.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, lads. So, the evidence was all circumstantial. However, cleverly chosen words and theatrical performances will get you convicted. So that is why barristers go to the learned school of acting, of how to put themselves forward. You won't buy from someone unless you like them, will you?
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
But that's why the legal system is so flawed. It should be just on the actual evidence, not whether like I actually like the defense or obviously the state that's accusing you of it. It's just so unbelievably fucked when you think about it, the actual legal system and the way legal proceedings go through. And
disclosure is the main thing, Nico. If you're not given an open, so you go to Spain, there's no secret information. Public immunity. Public immunity means that it comes under different guidelines. You get a threat to the government, a threat to the royal family, or a threat to a third person. You should be able to challenge your accusers, not let the judge be told stuff which is an absolute load of lies, but or the jury are wondering what's going on. You're not having the evidence to. So my co-defendant, he gave the car to someone called Leonard Bennett and asked him to burn it. I wasn't given that information, and if I had that information and gave that to the jury, I said, well, what am I doing sitting here? It was him and David Smith who did this, who asked him to burn the vehicle, not me, and a number of other factors, serious factors as well. That was all withheld from me. So he was bragging about the murder. He was showing off a gun in a pub, telling people he killed him, calling himself Ronnie and Reggie. If I'd have had all this evidence for trial, I said, well, what am I doing sitting here? So if you look at this country's law, it said you're innocent until proven guilty. No, you are bloody guilty until you prove you are innocent, because they control the evidence that they allow you to defend yourself with, withhold information that clearly points a case in another direction. Pick your jury. Put the jury under 24-hour armed guard. Armed guard. There for whole weekends, night and day. You got two blokes attached to you, walking about. So if you have a 3-week trial, you get to know these officers, don't you? He's guilty, this one. Terrible bit of work, this one. You know, they start talking to the officers, bringing them out cups of tea and things like that, or whatever. You just don't know, do you? And then the next thing you know, I think I had a police officer on the jury who was the foreman. And I believe that. For instance, the corrupt police officer in that case, Officer Spackman, he knew the split of the jury in the first trial. I had 2 trials. I had a hung jury in the first one, and the second one I got a 10-2 majority. In the first trial, Spackman came out along the corridor after the hung jury, went up to my solicitor and told him the split of the jury. Whatever goes on in that jury room is sacrosanct.
Scripted.
It's restricted. You're not, and he knew the split of the jury.
So that was scripted, surely. Like they.
Of course it was. What else did he know, that they're feeding him information, or you got the police officer in there? So yeah, I had a biased trial.
Is this still an ongoing case for you?
My case has just been accepted back to the Criminal Cases Review Commission.
Okay.
Based on the information that's in that book. I was told to submit my application to the Criminal Cases Review Commission and attach my book only. However, we had the Panorama programme, Last Chance for Justice, in relation to the forensic issues. That is now a factor in the investigation, because the jury should never have been told that I gripped a gun in that bag. It was damning for me. You can't second guess what each jury member would have thought of that, surely. As a result of that, my application is now back with the CCRC, and I've been to my 4th time. So,
but surely with all of this, like even what you've just told us, it's not valid for them to pursue and go into remanding you again, etc.
No, they wouldn't, because I've served my sentence. I served 20 years and got released. I served my sentence and got out. I've been recalled on a number of occasions. As a result, I still have the life licence. So whilst I've got that tag on me, I can go straight back to prison on just false allegations. Sit there till it's investigated and then be released.
And how long have you got the tag on you till?
6 months.
6 more months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you had it?
2.
2 months?
Yeah.
Okay, so 8 months tag, okay. And you're not allowed to leave the country?
Not at the minute. I used to leave the country for work. I loved it, going abroad to work, and it was work. It was genuine. I was in factories, modular buildings, so I was going to different factories around Europe, sourcing the best modular type that I was going to supply into this country.
Yeah.
In 2017, before modular was known in this country. Now look where it is. However, then, just as I was about to launch, COVID came in. I stopped taking on contracts for conventional building. I was doing really well. I mean, I took 1 million off of one site. I had 5 sites going at the time. I had loads of carpenters, bricklayers working for me. I was doing okay, considering I was out of prison and doing all right. So no, I don't want that work. I don't want to be arguing for my money, managing staff, you know, all sorts of problems in conventional building. I want my units built offshore, brought in, craned in, bolted together, gone. So I can bolt a house together in a day. Maybe 2 days, depending on the size of it. Done.
Okay.
Give you a turnkey, they call that.
Yeah.
And out the bleeding door. COVID came in. I got recalled again. 14.5 months during COVID, because the courts weren't working, probation weren't working. For a 2-month sentence I was given. Did 14.5. So I have the life licence on me. It's hanging over my head all the time. And of course that has an impact on you in many ways. So you feel like you're always being sentenced again and again and again. So I've done 20 years for that sentence. I've done another 3 years for part of that sentence, and I did 2 years for a kidnapping years ago. And the judge said I took the law into my own hands, and I was a vigilante. So I've done 25 years in prison. I think I've done enough now, and I've still got the same boxer shorts on.
But I feel like that shows a lot about, you know, who you are as a person. I feel like having, you know, we like to do our research on people that we have on. We like to know a bit about them before.
It is 8.5 inches in the cold.
Lily Phillips.
Yeah, okay. Lily Phillips. There you are.
Bro, we need to stop shouting her out. We shout her out every single fucking
I'd like
episode.
to interview her.
Yeah,
I would, because I was meant to interview a lady from Hollywood who was in the industry, with Matt Hodges. He was a PTI to BBC One. I don't know if I'm going to do it now, but she was one of the interviewees I was going to interview.
No.
Yeah, we'll try our best.
She might enjoy it.
Going back to like the Cat A, well, Triple A that you were in, were there any like people that stood out in there where you just thought, because we spoke about earlier, those people that, you know, are criminals, but those ones that are like stone cold?
God bloody hell, you know, I went away when you had a different era of prisoners, the old school mentality, the Reggie Cray ages and things like that, who put a bit of thought into a crime. They had morals, certain morals, really different type of breed. And there was, so I went away with an Indian contract killer called Prince. He killed people with knives, big butcher's knives. He went in to kill people with him. Pretty much anybody you might have heard of in this country, whether they be from up here, Bristol, Manchester, Liverpool, obviously predominantly London, people that are well known. I was a young lad at 27. It didn't mean nothing to me in that I was just boisterous, loved a good laugh. I like people for what I like them for, not for what their name is, and I didn't know what their names meant anyway, because I wasn't involved in that type of carry on or interested in it, to be fair with you. I mean, I remember a friend of mine, Johnny Clark. He was involved in part of the Hole in the Wall gang. It goes back with Mickey Green, as a well-known criminal in his day. And he said, Kevin, well, I was always doing stuff. I was going to do an MOT station when I was about 18. Get a load of bays, 10 bays, and I worked it out what I was getting the tickets for, what they were costing from the Ministry of Defence, Ministry of MOD. Was it from there? Anyway, I forget where I was getting it from now, but they were coming in about 80 pence a ticket. And we were selling an MOT then about £25. You get 10 MOTs done in a day, 10 stations, that's £2.5 in one day. That's how I worked it out. So like Johnny Clark said, Kevin, what are you thinking about doing at the minute? And I said, I'm thinking about doing this, doing that. So they'd also come and say, Kevin, we'll throw a few quid into that. Come and meet a fellow, I want you to meet someone. And it was Charlie Richardson, the Richardsons. And I said, no, I don't know. And he said, come and meet, I want to meet someone. I said, I'm not interested. I'm just not interested in meeting anyone. I'm just happy with what I'm doing, going to work, get a few quid. So when I went into the unit, and you've got the Brinks-Mac robbers in there, you've got these people, that people, I only see them as Fred, Jimmy, Tom. and that was it. Not what you've done, because it didn't mean nothing to me. I took you as the person you was, and that's how I've always done my time.
Well, I seem to remember you saying a guy called David Bieber.
Oh my God!
What he stood out to you, right?
Yeah, Dave stood out. I liked Dave in terms of he meant me no harm. He was a character, however, a very serious character. He'd look at you and look straight through you, and you think he's looking like he wants to kill you. He came and told me he'd been asked to kill me. I had 4 Osmond warnings given to me whilst I was serving time. I mean, believe me, I walked any landings in those prisons and I got on with pretty much everybody. But people won't like you for the way you dress, the way you talk. They've got to direct their anger at someone for different reasons, and you'll always have someone that will hate you. But predominantly and overwhelmingly, I was really well liked in prison, in that I would talk to you if no one really knew who you was, and I would show you time, because I'll be interested in you, and I'm just your personality. And then people say, "What are you talking to him for?" So, would you know him? We'd have a chat. So I wasn't worried about where I was in prison and where I could go at all, of the age I was at. And but then Bieber said, "I've been asked to kill you, but I'm telling you in case you find out, because I don't want to fall out with you, Kevin," because he knew that I would have come back and said, "You're plotting to kill me, are you?" Without telling me. So we've got a problem. Well, I'm really glad he told me, because when he told me, well, thanks for telling me, Dave. But I had little Victor tell me, Castillo, I know Victor really well. He's dead now. He's a Filipino, and another 2 people. I haven't got their permission to say, but there was 4, and they all told me they was asked to kill me.
And why did you have hits on your head in jail?
Because of the book. Because what I'd brought to light, in that the book weren't released then, but I had paperwork in there. So there was some confidential chats in here that was disclosed to me by the police and the CCRC, where my co-defendant was talking to the police off the record, and he asked to talk to the police, saying that he was to assist him with his inquiry and discuss the advantage of him of having his supplying information of his charges dropped. And he signs it. He signs it in 5 places in his custody record, handwritten, signed. Then I get the actual typed version of these confidential chats, where he's taken to the interview room at his request, and he starts discussing things with them. So for everybody who questions why I've been singing from the rooftops about this, to bring awareness to it, that you should be able to challenge your accuser. So he's working behind the scenes with the police. The judges are looking at me, the CPS are looking at me, saying, well, he's committed a load of murders, this fella. So we've charged him for this murder, but he's done others. He's going to prison. I never knew until I got convicted. Some years later, 3 years later, I'll get this paperwork. I thought, oh, that says it all. That's why they made me exceptional risk. That's why they did this to me. That's why they did. I thought, what is going on here? And I know now. Absolute arsehole sent me to prison. And people who are in prison haven't it with him now. Shame on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
And then your life's getting threatened because of that sort of thing. So, like, was that a common thing in the AAA category, where people getting threatened often? And what's, like, the worst thing that you saw?
Well, I wasn't threatened. I was asked to.
Okay.
I was quite robust in the prison system, in that I would come and if we had to have a discussion, we'd have that discussion, no doubt about it. But overall, I'm just I was right good laugh, liked a good time. People putting hits on me, and then again, because you can have someone putting hits on you, but they're also using the system to stop you doing anything to them. So I was called into an office on the wing by the management. They said, if anything happens to this person and that person, we know where it's come from, and that's going to affect your sentence. So he's then gone to them, and then he's putting hits on me from behind the scenes. And then that would affect my progression on my category A, because they're saying I'm a contract killer and I'm now having hits on people put in prison.
So, did your time in prison, obviously you did you did 20 years, right? How would you say the time went by really, really, like, incredibly slowly, or did it get to a point where actually you found your rhythm in there and it didn't actually drag on?
God, no, it drags on. You get sick of it. Sick of it, where I'd walk past you, right, go in my cell, come out, walk past you, right. You're just sick of it. You end up looking down at the floor, And they are directing their anger at each other in the system, because their anger, it's got to go somewhere. And where's it go? It goes at people you're living with in a big house full of bedrooms. You get sick of the people arguing, the bullying, the liberties that are being taken. You see different type of people coming into the prison system from the old school. Whereas you would come in and would go, all right, George, where are you from? What do you need? We'd go and get someone from your area if we could find someone, make you a bit of grub. So a pal of mine, Tony Daniels, another pal of mine, Perry, I'm not going to say his second name, but he turned up. Tony Daniels is a black pal of mine. All right, geezer, how you doing? Like, straight up and down, talks like a white cockney. He just cooked like a nice fry up and he give it to a white fella. There's nothing wrong with that, but you see the differences in times. And I remember Perry saying, I couldn't believe it, he gave me a great big fry up, it was his own dinner. That is how we were one. We looked after each other. Now it's rob you, steal you, get you to phone your family up, get some money sent into an account. What can we get you to do? What can we take off you? It's not right, and that's where the system is now. So I see that system change.
It's ruthless. Not
like people for what's in their heart, not about their colour. If you're bloody good, you're good. If you're an absolute arsehole, you're an arsehole. And we don't want nothing to do with you. Absolutely gone now.
What would you do if you were... this is a question I think the best type of people to ask it to is people who have lived that whole experience being in prison. If you were in charge of making changes to the prison system, what would you do? Because clearly right now it doesn't work. It doesn't work, it's shit. And especially like you said, being in an enclosed environment for 20 plus years is not going to reform you. It's actually going to make you mental, and it's also going to make you more violent if you don't have the right mentality, which not everyone does. Obviously you had the right mentality where you were still like kept a bit of personality about yourself, a bit of humanity, and didn't really get involved with stabbing people and robbing people.
I never used a tool in my life.
Exactly.
Never.
So what would you like? What is the solution to this?
The solution is bring in internment for all the terrorists that are coming over, signing up to Islam, put them in army camps, segregate them, or different prisons, segregate them from the main population, so they're not converting misfits and people who are wannabes. Take away that, take away all the problem then with they're fighting with people because they're cooking bacon in the kitchen or whatever reason. Stop that. It's not you being racist. No, you've got different beliefs, different rules to how you want to do your time. If you live together, there's problems. It's problematic. So segregate them in that manner straight away. I would reduce the amount of hours you can watch TV. People have to get up in the morning and go to work, but give them a job where they can get paid. And money goes into account, goes over to the old woman. They got something to get up to, and it gets saved for them when they go home. Not what they do now, pay £7 to work 7 days a week behind the servery. Crap wages, and you get only have enough to keep you in prison, you know, with the prices of stuff. I'd make people have to read part of their parole and write, so you can know what you're reading, know what you're signing, and that's part of the coursework you've got to do, not just get in there nodding dogs and copy people's work. Teach them trades. We're building 6 million homes in this country. We need some workshops over the next however many years. I think it's 20 years they're saying. You can put a workshop up in 6 months. No problem. Get a workshop up on the lands within those prisons. Making what this country needs to build these 6 million homes. Train the lads to do it, whether it's in a workshop, putting frames together, making kitchens, all sorts of bits and pieces you can do. But they can go home and go to work doing the same job and say, well, I've been in prison for 6 years, but I've had this job in there for 4. And I've kept a good job. There's my survey. There's my resume, blah, blah, blah. Also, I believe that you should be able to see your family. For instance, you should be able to see your loved ones, the missus, and you should be able to have visitors with them every weekend in a bungalow or something, in the grounds. Family ties, keep them. So the kid's still got a dad, hasn't got another dad and another dad. The old woman's got someone to hold on to, he's got someone to hold on to, and he's sending money home to her so he can provide for his family. We don't do none of that in this country, the other countries do. And I've been saying this now for 30 years, and we're still doing it wrong. Honestly, and there's so much more I could say about that, but I do believe you've got to give people hope on the horizon, and if you don't give them hope on the horizon, they turn to drugs, they turn to spice, Let them smoke hash, no problem. Let them bring hash back, you won't have 250 deaths a year on spice. When there was puffing there, everyone was having a puff. Not everyone, people were puffing, people would put it in their coffee. Happy-go-lucky wings, people were playing a bit of Marley, bit of this, bit of that. Not running around their heads off of spice, convulsion and foaming at the mouths. And that's what you got in there now. And the system's just ruined. And it needs massive reform, it needs massive investment in terms of staff. You go to Argentina, it's a 4-year course to be a prison officer. Over it's 7 or 9 weeks, something like that. So, not knocking the staff, they've got a very difficult job, but in the same breath, they're getting abused, attacked, they lose hope. Some 5 wells was a prison, I don't think they had enough staff to man it. They were starting and leaving. Why is that?
Because they're not getting paid enough for what they're dealing with.
Paid enough for what they're doing and faced with a load of aggravation.
I just want to touch on what you said about, people. I think it's a common thing now, people going to jail and convert or revert to Islam. Did you see that a lot in your time, or is that something now that people do for protection reasons, and then they'll play along with it for a couple of years, and as soon as they're out?
Of course, they all throw the towel in, most of them, when they get out. It happened whilst I was away. I see that transition. I see the terrorists came in, and I say terrorists because they're terrorising people. I don't class the IRA or UDF as terrorism. They were freedom fighters. They were fighting for their land and their country in a manner where they were different type of people, different type of men. They come and they lived amongst each other. They didn't have mass violence within the prison. What you've got, terrorists coming over, committing crimes in this country of mass destruction. I know the IRA blew up a lot of places, however, I wasn't going to get too deep into this. However, the government's propaganda was to let the public turn against the IRA or whoever was doing the bombs by letting the bombs go off. When all those bombs were notified, it's going to got a bomb there, it's going to go off. So if the IRA said to me, Kevin, if you want to kill people, we'll put a bomb in a football ground. Well, we don't, do we? So the bombs that have gone off, they've gone off for a reason, and they've caused mass destruction. The terrorists are coming over here, and they want to kill women and kids on trains and all sorts of things, and put a bomb in the Ministry of Soul to kill people. That's innocent lives.
But even what the IRA did is technically terrorism. Because, I mean, whilst, yes, they did that really big one in Manchester. When was it? In the late 80s?
Yeah.
Something like that. Where it didn't kill anyone, but it absolutely just decimated pretty much. It was meant to kill people, but it just decimated
Well, was it meant to kill people?
Was it not?
That's what I'm saying. The IRA, you bring someone to the knees by hitting them in the pocket. People will die, of course, unfortunately, but you're not aiming to kill masses of people. It's not their intention, unless you're bombing your enemy, I suppose. And some of my views might not be quite right. I accept that, but I do realise that you've got two people living in a country that are just fighting over nothing, really. It's ridiculous what they're fighting over. Now look at them. They're all getting on to a massive degree, and sometimes they're not, which I wish they just would, but that's not my argument. I know parties on both sides, and I like them both. What you've got with people coming over from Iraq and so on and so forth, they are committing the most atrocious crimes, where they're bombs on train stations or killing people on London Bridge in an horrific way. That's not fighting the government, that's fighting the ordinary citizen. So they're targeting people, I believe, in the wrong manner. You look at Manchester, you look at when we bombed we bombed in London, where it was the money centre, not Shoreditch, it was financial centre. We bombed it. I was in Belmarsh at the time, and the windows all shook. I'll never forget it. And Dingus McGee said, "That's a bomb, that's a bomb," because of the suction makes the windows, it sucks the air in as it comes back out. And that was a bomb when we did. I can't recall what it is now. It's that stuff. We're going a bit political. You should never talk about politics. I just think that people coming into the system now, they've got a different mindset. You can't have the crack. You don't want to get on with them. You don't want to mix with them in senses. But I have mixed with terrorists like that. I've mixed with. There's a terrorist in there, and he went to aid my mate who was having a massive asthma attack, and I got on really well with him. He was a doctor. He's the one that drove the car into Glasgow Airport, tried to blow himself up and burn that down, and he failed. However, on the landing, great company. And I say that honestly, right, good company, nice bloke. But his beliefs had him believe in something different. How he wanted to fight it.
This is the thing, though. A lot of these people are just pawns. They're all like brainwashed. They're pawns by someone who says you're doing this because of X and Y, and you have to do it, and blah blah. They take people at their weakest. This is what they do. They take people at their weakest when they're in like a really tough spot. Then when you're in a really tough spot, a lot of the people look for. Well, some people just dive into drugs and alcohol. Some people dive into working out. Some people dive into religion. And obviously, if you've some already
people go muff diving.
Yeah, I do that. So.
Excuse me, ladies. I apologise for that.
We don't have many ladies in our audience.
No,
so
we don't. To be fair,
more ladies. We need more ladies out here. I know you ladies of the true crime. We're here. This is what we do as a podcast.
So for someone that's gonna let's just say we both got sent to jail tomorrow. Are people taking that easy route though? Just going back to my last question, like I could join that community and be protected.
You will do, but you're still. If you had killed someone from the postal codes back in London and such, and then the brother comes in or the cousin comes in or a gang, you go into certain prisons now. They're now doing what they're doing out in Mexico and other prisons, where all of your people from your area or your gang have been held on one wing to keep you separated because you're at each other. So they're already doing segregation of religion, gangs and such already. You just need to spread it about a bit. You would get protection, but you could still be falling out of people. And most of them are watching porn, drinking, smoking drugs anyway. Heroin's a big thing out from the Middle East. Massive out there. And they're smoking it like you wouldn't believe in prison.
Smoking heroin?
Yeah, heroin's big in prison. But they've gone to the spice now. Don't see so much because of the spice.
Okay, so then
you'd get bummed.
Right, good looking.
You'd get bummed. Yeah, you'd be like bleeding Shawshank.
I'll take it as a compliment, but I'd like to think I'd. To be
honest, anyway, mate.
If I got bummed, I'd kill myself. So.
You might like it.
Nah. I think I can do all right in a fight. So.
Have a bit more of this.
Have a bit more of that, eh?
A bit more of that.
Fair play.
Do you want a bit more?
Yeah, go on then. I actually will. I will have a bit more. But yeah, so coming out of jail, the restorative justice program that you went through, you said that you had 2 actual victims. That everything else was a moral thing where the people deserved what they got, but there was 2 victims. What was it like meeting those victims in the program, and how did it go?
There's one victim, Will, and it was very powerful. Imagine me sitting here with you now, and I've kidnapped you, and I've run you over with a car a few times. I've severely bashed you with an iron bar around the head. I've sprayed you with CS gas and slung you in a canal.
How pleasant.
And I've terrorised you for a number of hours, and I say that to you to let you know the impact of what I've done to Will. He messaged me today. I was just coming up here, Will. We're in communication. He asked for a bottle of me hooch again. I took him a bottle round the other week. About a month or so ago. Yeah, I've gone really well with him. Tried to get him a job with someone, but they didn't come through with it. Because he's unemployed at the minute. He lost his job. The company went bankrupt. So yeah, sitting with him to hear what I'd done to him. I thought, my God, it's real. It's not paperwork. It's not a screw standing in front of you giving you a course. It's only been in. I remember I did a course. The screw had only been in the game, I think, 13 weeks or something, and they're doing a course with you. So some of these courses are crap, but to do restorative justice, that's powerful, because you're touching base with people's human emotions, and you're seeing, hearing what you've done to that person, or the effect it's had on them, the impact of that, massive. And I just sat there quiet while he's saying all he said, got stuck into me verbally, took it on the chin, but it really touched some areas of me that made me have a different, or think about things maybe that I hadn't thought about before. And I left that building with him. I said, do you want a lift? Let me give you a lift. I had my former partner with me at the time. I said, got company. She had spoken to him. I think he felt comfortable, and I said, do you want to go for a coffee? That's what I said. Should we go for a coffee after? He said, yeah, I'll go for coffee with you, Kerry. He was still nervous, so I was really nervous.
Yeah, I can imagine getting in the car again.
Yeah, really
Yeah, I
nervous.
guess that's another thing, getting in the car again.
Yeah.
But
that
this
was the
time it wasn't
thing.
in the boot, right?
Yeah.
So then I ended up taking him home. So, do you want to lift home? He said, okay, Kevin. I took him home. So from 1 minute he's being dragged and thrown in the car, next minute I'm inviting him.
That's powerful.
It was a positive experience.
That's powerful.
Would you say?
Massively, and I'm hoping I promote it now. Will's an ambassador for that and another charity. It's changed his life to a degree. I think that if more people did restorative justice, if the situation was correct, it'd be far more beneficial. It's everlasting. That you don't forget that. You have to touch people in the heart, not writing a bit and slinging it. To make a change, you have to cause an impact internally and then up here as well. If you can do that, which restorative justice does, not for everybody. Or saying that, restorative justice was brought into effectively by the Donovans. They started it really many years ago. I knew the person who was involved in either their son or one of the cases in there, and he's been in and out of prison a number of times. Still, that's drug related. However, he says to me, and he spoke to me vividly about that interaction with them, and I could see that it really did. He just changed, and he spoke to me about it. So that had an impact on him. But when he's on drugs, it doesn't. But it still had enough to come out in him years later.
And sorry, you said I think, did you say that you were one day you'll turn up to his house with a big bag of cash?
Yeah.
And apologise. Did you manage to?
Not yet.
fulfill
I've been recalled a number of times. I would have done.
Yeah.
I'm probably about £570,000 out of pocket at the moment, into a couple of business deals where I'd sold some bits and pieces with someone. He's now banged up in France, which I didn't know. It's like a few years after I sold it to him. He's got locked up for something. I didn't know what he'd done. I wasn't involved in what he was doing. And then I designed some houses that was imported in a modular style, and I put them on wheels. If I'm putting them on wheels, that gives them people opportunities to own real houses on mobile sites, chalet sites. So you're wheeling them in under portable and temporary accommodation. That's what it comes under when you've got wheels. So you can take your wheels off and lower them down. You've got a real house that's built out of low galvanised steel, so it's light enough to be carried on a 16-wheel chassis. Great idea. So I did that. I converted a meadow, spent some money on the meadow, about £130,000 on the meadow, a bit more than that. And then the houses, having them built, imported into the country. I had them imported into the country, and the lady that owned the land took ill. She was 112, and her grandson was living on the land. I got locked off for different reasons. I suppose they thought I was a sitting tenant. So my houses are still there now.
Okay.
They're unfinished. I haven't got bedrooms, wardrobes in them and stuff like that. So you're walking into a shell, it's decorated, but it needs the furniture in there. It needs proper finishing so people can see a home, not an empty shell that's got a canvas. And so I'm right out of pocket in a minute. So until I get some cash again, which I will do, I'm working hard now to get it. And when I get that, and I only thought about that the other day as well. Literally a couple of days ago I was thinking about it. And that person, I took someone away years ago actually. I did something to him, and I regret doing that to him. And I really apologise. I was a young lad at the time. It doesn't make it right. It's not an excuse. Would I do it now? I wouldn't do that again now for the reasons I did it for then. At all.
About restorative justice though, because I agree it's very powerful in that situation. That person that you did something to was able to have closure because they spoke to you about it, and you guys had a conversation. But in your situation, you obviously came to terms with the actual face to face with what you did and what happened and the effect it had on the person. So it was a positive impact for both of you guys. But where does the line get drawn? Like in that situation, does Hitler have the right to restorative justice? Like is that this is, I think, in your situation, I think it's 100% agreed. Like that is very powerful, and it's a positive thing to have. But where would you draw the line? Like, what do you reckon everyone deserves it?
Back in medieval times, you had an earl, you had knights, you had different levels of authority, didn't you? Barons and such. And you'd go to different levels of those people to bring justice to within the community or within the land. So you can go to having someone in the area or a number of people in the area that can have a word of this person because he's done this or he's done that, without going to the police. So you've got that already, where there's always someone you will go to have a word with someone. And that's the way the country's led. You go to the police in one sense, or you go to people that you know, because the police can't get involved for many different reasons, or they haven't got the resources to. I think that you can take the law into your own hands if it's on the right person. And I say that, I say you can. I believe that people still do. From having a quiet word in someone's ear roll, behave yourself now, it's getting a bit too much, you're causing a lot of people distress, you're bashing up that girl too much, it stops. Because if you bash her up again, we're going to come back and we're going to bash you up. Don't think we won't know you've bashed her up, because we're here now. Do not put another hand on her. However, the police have brought in domestic terrorism, and I think that shook a lot of people up, in that you get a girl make an accusation against her now, you're straight into prison. So we did need it in this country. However, it's been abused, massively so, and the men don't have much say in this situation, where the women do. And it's just, a lot of women are getting terrorised, I accept that, and bashed up all the time. Some people, it's in their culture, and some people it's just in them. Where does it stop? Years ago it'd be someone like me who'd come round and punch your fucking head in and knock your front teeth out for bashing up someone. It's a difficult question, isn't it?
Yeah. There's an ethical dilemma that goes with it.
An ethical dilemma. And I do say in times that you'd get an old lady and go, oh, it couldn't have happened to a better person. Go on, Kevin, give him one from me. Do you know what I mean? Because he's an absolute thug. People might say I'm a thug because of what I've done. Yeah, I probably was a bit of a thug, but I was a thug to people who were thugs, who were terrorising people. And I got a couple of things I did were wrong, and I put my hands up to that. But am I that person? The acts that were committed were thuggish, but am I a thug normally? No, I'm not. I'm not. You'll see me talk to people on the buses, on the train. I make time for people all the time. My nature is Kevin, and I like people, and I just like having a crack and showing people manners, kindness and time. That is my nature. I've been like it since I was a kid. Unfortunately, the routes we go on, sometimes it's took me down paths where I wasn't mature enough to know what I was doing. I was very immature in many ways. Well, I was mature enough to go and live on my own, but I was immature in what I thought was right when it was wrong. So that is something you must learn. And what I did when I was 15 onwards, I wouldn't do a lot of the things I've done then now at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think prison works. Yeah, I don't think it serves a purpose to stop you going. You'll stop going to prison when you're sick of going to prison, or you get married, you have kids, and that changes you, or you'll get a decent job to keep you out. However, if your lifestyle is prison, it's part of it what you accept.
It's just a crazy conversation. It's so deep into it, like that. Criminals in general, like you have to. I feel like everyone just gets put under the same umbrella as a criminal. But you're not. Like, someone might have murdered a whole family with children, and one person might have just kidnapped someone who needed to be kidnapped, because let's say they're a cartel hitman. They kidnapped a member of the other cartel because they killed 100 of his mates, and that's just what happens in that way. I feel like when you take it out into the general public and it's not just like a gang thing anymore, that's when, for me, then I actually care, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't agree. Look, I would rather we didn't have a society with cartels.
Oh yeah, that would
Come
be
on,
ideal.
I mean, the butcherism that goes on over there, it's just bleeding. It's barbaric. Let's have that right. They're killing kids, chopping their arms off, and all sorts of madness. Mothers have done nothing. It's just not right. It's unstableness. You have to have a society with the systems in place that we do have. For instance, police, ambulance, law courts. So the judicial system, for instance, the jury comes from Islam. We brought it back with us after the Crusades. Great. And you need to have that structure. You need to have things in place for you to live a law-abiding life. Otherwise it'd be anarchy, wouldn't it, out here? You wouldn't want a society where you didn't have the police. You'd soon pick the phone up if someone was coming through your front door, or I wouldn't, but a lot of people would, and that's rightly so. So, I'd rather live here than bleed in some of the places in the world, like Guatemala. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
We were speaking about it earlier, Ali Gonzalez. They'd leave kids' body parts in their, other people's territories.
No, they just have them scattered around.
Yeah, just to show, I'm about that life. He said they've not done anything wrong. They're not even linked to families, just to show that they're about it in that certain way.
Barbaric.
It's mental.
Like, oh my God, is that a society? I would not want to live out there.
No.
Yeah.
Would I? I'll be sleep with one eye open.
Can I add really quickly? I thought if they were going to make a movie about you, I could so 100% see Tom Hardy playing your role. Could you not see that? Could you not see that? I feel like Tom Hardy would be the perfect actor to play you. I think that would be.
I'm due to meet. Sorry to cut across you there, George. I'm due to meet an agent. I have met with an agent before. I never took it any further. I got recalled. I'm meeting with an agent soon when my friend comes back from abroad. He's quite a well-known agent, as well as another friend of mine is going to speak to a really well-known actor. He's done over 100 films. He was a football player before that. I can't give no secrets away.
I know who you're on
about. My accountant's eyesight.
I know who you're on about. Yeah.
It may not come to nothing, but he's in the making there.
Fair.
There's been a film written already by the Lennox brothers. That's still sitting on the shelf for different reasons. Nothing wrong with it. Wayne and his brother, fantastic lads. I got recalled. Whatever else has happened, it's still sitting there. But it was written and it was paid for at a great expense as well. I didn't pay for it, someone else paid for it, a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine.
He's a great actor as well. I think he's a great actor.
Tom's brilliant.
Yeah. Tom Hardy.
They were talking about Taron Egerton playing me.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fuck off, mate. That's the. What do you mean you don't know?
I know
Kingsman.
faces. Oh yeah.
Eggsy from Kingsman.
Yeah.
That's what I was. That's what I was gonna mention. Again, Colin Firth in Kingsman.
Yeah.
You could definitely play Colin Firth's role in Kingsman. I could so see you.
I was meant
Manners
to go
maketh
to enroll
man.
to acting school a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You know what? That's actually a good idea. I reckon you could make a pretty good career out of an actor. To be honest.
A friend of mine, he called me and. So there's another actor, a well-known actor, who starred in Football Factory and bits and pieces like that, and I think the Essex Boys. And he's got a cousin or a brother, same name, who's a film director. He's done a load of films, and he invited me to enroll into acting. So I'm going to see the agent anyway before this came up. Tam Hassan, his cousin, is Metin Hassan. He invited me to go to this acting school, and it was over at Bethnal Green. It was sold out. And I'll tell you who enrolled on there, David Hay, the same day.
Oh,
to be an
really?
Actor. Yeah, David Hay did.
I could see David Hay being an actor, to be fair. He's that type of guy.
The role suits.
Well, we don't know what he's going to play, do you? You might see him dancing around on a stage playing Swan Lake.
Yeah, that would ruin all.
Would he suit that?
No.
A West End musical.
In tight leotards. Go on, David, with your hair braids.
Fucking hell, David.
But you never know, do you? He could play. He could all sorts of parts. He could play, couldn't he? Big lad.
Yeah, I think
boxer.
Yeah.
Come on,
Creed or something like that.
I think we've got one big question to ask Kevin. Yes, okay. Here it is. So, just to kind of bring the episode to a close, I wanna know your sort of viewpoint on this. When you were in there for 20 years, you know, obviously this is a long stretch, this is what I'm gonna have to firm for this amount of time. How did you keep yourself from, because in that situation, I know myself, I would go into a very deep hole. I'd probably end up like taking my own life because just being enclosed.
You say that, people don't. They're a lot weaker than you. You'll be surprised. You just have to get on with it. People come around you, give you a bit of support, and then you feel a lot better.
How do you keep mental sanity?
Not having a TV. I always say to myself, I won't give in. I'm not going to let this beat me. Training really hard. I used to train really hard, and then working on my case. Like, this is the hardest fight I've ever had in my life, and I'm going to keep battling and battling and battling, and I'm not going to let it beat me. And that's what I did. And the support from friends and family. I had 25,000 followers when I was in prison, 250 plus Christmas cards a year. I went down to Woodhill prison on visits once. The first time they wouldn't have me down there, and they took me eventually. My mum lived in that area at the time, so I think I was there 7 weeks. I had a visit every single day apart from one day where the prison visit hall didn't have a visit. For 7 weeks, there's 49 visits, all bar 7, so 42 different people. I see my mum twice out of that. Other than that, every day was a different person.
Fair.
That got me through. And believe me, to say that, I think about that respectfully, in that thank you to all those people. Even now, I had over 2,000 emails sent to me on my last recall. Over 2,000 letters, bags of them. Lovely.
You've got support. That's good. That's the one thing that matters in that situation, is support.
Yeah. I made Tim Whitwell of Banged Up series, and Bear Grylls come and see me. Johnny Mercer was due to come and see me.
Bear Grylls came to see you?
No, Tim Whitwell of the series Bear Grylls.
Okay.
And Hunted and Banged Up series I was appeared in. So he came to see me twice, Tim did.
Wow.
Johnny Mercer, he was on the cabinet. He was coming to see me, and I got moved. And then he was campaigning at another time, so they moved me because they knew he was coming to see me. Stuff like that. The support I have. I remember the parole board said Mr. Lane's support network is not far-ranging, or they used the word to say he's got Duncan Campbell visiting him, who's married to Julie Christie. Julie Christie's in his book. He goes out to the theatre with Julie Christie. You've got Channel 4 coming to see him. You've got a right mixed bunch visiting him, or recognised as decent people.
Yeah, because they know that you're innocent. They know, like, that you didn't do this. They can see the flaws of the judicial system. And actually, just to end it off, do you have anything to say specifically to?
I'd say get yourself a job, get yourself skilled. Do not go to prison, because you're just going to sit in there and look at the walls and think, who's shagging my bird? All right.
Fair.
You're not living a life. This is one life. Live it. It isn't meant to be lived in a concrete cell, a tomb. Prison is not what it once was. Gangsters are portrayed as heroes. I don't think that's quite right, but we all like a good story, like heist and whatever else.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is in it. It's the good in the bad. However, get a job, live your life, go on holiday, and stay out of prison, and enjoy life where people ain't trying to take stuff off you, shag you, or give you grief or harm you. Enjoy life, and to everybody that supports me, I'd like to say thank you, and in the same breath, I wish you all the best, everybody, and make the right decisions, not the wrong decisions.
Powerful.
Thank you, Kev. Thank you
You're
very
welcome,
much.
lads. Thank you for having me.
We'll wrap the
Thank you
ep
for
up
coming
there.
on. I enjoyed the hooch. It was,
Did you? The
I
hooch
wouldn't
is
call it
great.
hooch. I'd actually call it a different.
Cheeky chappers and cheeky ladies.
Yeah.